Good morning. How are you? Welcome to Caine Live, the first Caine Live of 2023. Can y'all believe it's 2023? The year is here. It's off to a great start. It's been great to see a lot of you in the office over the last 2 weeks or week and 2 days as we sort of settle into January. Amanda and I were commenting yesterday, January is always an interesting time of year. You show up. You're working on your business. We have a lot to celebrate this year. What are we celebrating first? We're kicking off our 90th year in real estate in the upstate of South Carolina. So, go Caine. We can do better than that. We can do better than that, can't we? So it is exciting. We're going to celebrate that a lot this year. As you're working on your business, we've been working on ours. We got a little housekeeping to do in January. Laura McDonald, who's on the phone. I guess she's taking, are you taking a picture of me? Okay. She's posting. She's posting. Y'all are going to be so excited. Laura's going to review our new policy manual next week. Yes. Laura, they are ready. They are ready. The week of January 23rd, I'm going to get up here and I'm going to give some predictions of what's going to happen in real estate this year. So we're not only feeling the hangover from the holidays, we might be feeling the hangover from the fourth quarter as the market sort of slowed down. I think we're all feeling that. There's no doubt about it. But if you look at what the forecasts have for 2023 and really beyond, I think it's safe to say the slowdown's a good thing. Right? So the Fed's measures that they're taking with interest rates are working. And so a lot of the forecasts have that the second half of 2023 is going to be much different than the first half of 2023. So we're going to talk about that. And I think you're going to leave very optimistic about what the year has in front of us. It's going to be hard first half of the year, but I think we're going to see a lot of optimism and a lot of movement in the second half of the year. But there's no better way to start the year, I think, than with some perspective and some motivation and really bringing us all back to where we need to be in January to get focused on the first quarter of a new year. And we're very proud, as I said in my email, Milt Lowder is joining us for our third year at Coldwell Banker Caine. And Milt, we could not be more grateful to have you as a partner and to kick off 2023. So welcome back, Milt.
Thank you. Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. What a great privilege it's been to be a partner in the process, to kind of go through the highs and be with you with some lows, and to kick off the new year. I feel a little bit like church. I went to church the other day. You can find a parking spot. So I feel like the first Caine Live of 2023 is kind of, except my best friend Seaver left, so I don't know what that means about what he thought about my talk today. But I had a great conversation with your leadership yesterday, really just about kind of the state of the business a little bit, about how are we doing personally and professionally. I want to kind of reflect back as we start this year, where we ended up in November. Now, this free in 23, and we talked about playing free, about focus, relax, engage, and enjoy. And we talked about what are the things that keep us from being free. And I hope you spent some time thinking about that. Is this being recorded?
It is.
It is. Yeah, I can't say what I was getting ready to say. I'm glad I asked. I will say that our quarterback at Clemson, who is not at Clemson anymore, we talked about the F that lead to freedom. One of those I cannot mention. That's why I asked if we were being recorded. And so understanding that forgiveness leads to freedom. What are the things we're holding on to that holds us back? What are the fears that keep us from being free? What are the anxieties and stressors? And so these are the things we reviewed, kind of believing no matter what, that you want to keep your dreams greater than your memories. Now we want to make sure success is the worthy pursuit of a worthy goal, that we redefine what success and happiness really look like in our life, that we're pursuing joy, not necessarily happiness. And as we start the year, we know that most people don't have a goal that they're working for, and they're living up to the expectations or burden of expectations. And I know in my life, I've said it time and time again, those expectations really take away my joy. And so we want to hit the mindset, reset, what are you pursuing in 2023? What's really important, I think, in life and in business, that what you're running to has got to be greater than what you're running from. And so as Stephen said, we face some challenges. First half of the year is going to be really difficult, but we want to make sure that what we're running to is greater than what we're running from. We've had a great run the last decade, but what might set us up for success in 2023? That give and accept forgiveness. Remember that definition. Forgiveness is where that person or that event doesn't control you or keep you from being who God created you to be. And the key reminder, I believe, is what Jesus said to Peter, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. So every time I'm reminded of what was done to me, every time I'm reminded of the mistakes that I made, that I choose forgiveness, knowing that forgiveness leads to freedom. It also, as I predict the future, from maybe a position of weakness, and I get anxious, and I get scared, and I get fearful, and I become emotional, that I don't let that fear, that anxiety control me in that process. We fail to take care of ourselves, especially what stress really does, is stress really makes me selfish in a way that I look out for me, but not in a healthy way. But I'm so focused on my problems, I'm so focused on my concerns, I'm so focused on my worries, I fail to see how I'm impacting other people, and I fail to take care of myself in a healthy way, that I maybe develop some healthy or unhealthy habits that really distract me from what's important in my life and what helps me be my best. That grateful, we spend a lot of time on being grateful. And when you think about gratitude, that definition is wanting what you have. The benefit of gratitude, when I'm thankful for the good and the bad of my life, I'm not anxious, I'm not overwhelmed, I'm not scared, because I want what I have, I want who I have in my life, and I want the opportunity in front of me. And I love this mindset of my visual, as Stephen was talking about, that first half is going to be tough, and we think about, preparing ourselves for the second half. It's a 4-quarter game, right? It's 60 minutes or as long as it takes. As Usain Bolt said, I don't focus on the start, I focus on the finish. All those are important. But one of the first lessons we talked about, when God closes one door, he opens another. And I'm not saying the door is closed, but I think I told you, my old supervisor used to say it's hell in the hallway. So how do I keep walking forward in that hallway with faith? How do I keep walking with anticipation? And how do I stay true to who I am? And then, remember, great husbands, great coaches, great men, great women, great leaders, great agents make poor gods. And so part of this process of finding peace and freedom in your life is letting go of the things you can't control and staying focused on what you can. So that was kind of a look back at where we ended up. And we think back, remembering who you are, remembering what you've done, and some time for some healthy reflection. Just this reset, awareness, action, accountability. This is our growth process. The key part is that awareness. What are the keys to your success? What are the reasons to believe in Caine? I love being with Caine Live, but we meet with your leadership team. We meet in the room down the way, and I think it says, right, it's 1936 or 38? 33. I love being there. Somewhere in there, somewhere in the 1930s, it's 90. What's 90 from 10? My math. Math is never my strong suit, I can promise you. I will tell you, speaking of how we set limits on ourselves, my mother always told me I could make 4 A's and a B. And the B was in math. And so my interpretation was I'm not very good in math, which was a true comment. But what it kept me from doing is putting forth any effort or any engagement, because I just set a limit. And so that was proof maybe she was right.
I got a hard time for wearing a jacket one morning in 62.
Yeah, I remember that. We got to work on our mental toughness. So that awareness, action, accountability. And this is what's so important, especially from a position of strength. What are the reasons to believe? What I was saying is 1933, I love looking at when Caine was founded. No idea that World War II was getting ready to start. No idea, like we're in the middle of a Great Depression. But that's an anticipation and a hope and a reason to believe in you. That comment we make about Steph Curry and the big question when he got to the NBA, can he keep shooting like this? And the comment was, he's always shot like this. Like he shot like this in middle school, he shot like this in high school, he shot like this in college, he shot like this in NCAA tournament. He hadn't just done this stage. I think what I like about being a part of the Caine family and what that reminds me of, this is what you've always done. When times are good, we drop the hammer. When times are bad, we find a way to get better. And through it all, we stay connected to a common purpose, and we stay connected to our goal, we stay connected to each other. And so that awareness, action, accountability, where's that gap that exists between who you are and who you want to be? Where's that gap that exists between the person you are and the person you want to be? And we're going to reflect. I got a lot of questions for you to sit and chew on in just a moment as you reflect back on 2022 and project 2023. What are some lessons you learned along the way? What made you successful in 2023? Where are some areas that you failed to grow? Where do you want to get a little bit better? Then the action, remember what I promote is from a cognitive behavioral perspective, that as you think, so you are. So we have to change the way we think to create a different outcome. And the accountability that I really want to remind you about, as I told you over and over again, my old preacher said his father ruined many a good Friday night when he was in high school and going out, because the last thing his father would say is, now remember who you are. I think that's what's so important this time of uncertainty and adversity. When you walk forward into 2023, no matter what you face, no matter where you go, no matter what the challenges are, if you know who you are and what you believe, and you have the courage to act according to what you believe, there's great confidence, there's great power, and there's great freedom in that process. So anytime we speak, I want you to really think about whatever I present, whatever you hear, what does it mean? What does it mean to you? But most importantly, what are you going to do with that information? How are you going to walk out of here with a renewed purpose to be a better version of you and create a better version of Caine? So this is a kind of moment of reflection. There are a lot of questions. We won't get through maybe time to digest and debrief, but this is the interactive part of the presentation. A little less of me, a little more of you is always a good idea. So as you think back to some of these questions, you look back on 2022, just take a moment. What was a highlight for you in 2022? What was a success for you? And you can feel free to write it down if you like. Personally and professionally. So one of my New Year's goals, resolutions, is when I speak to Caine Live, is to remember that Spartanburg is online. Spartanburg, I love you. My mom's from Spartanburg, Miss Spartan High, 1960, but I kind of forget sometimes that you're there. Don't tell her I said that. So if we go to Spartanburg, maybe if we have a chance to be interactive with Spartanburg, I'd love somebody to share a kind of a personal highlight from 2022 and a professional one. This is maybe why I don't call them.
Looking around the room, seeing if anyone's willing to hop on and say one.
Okay,
we got one over here.
Great.
This is just a personal one. I hiked half of the South Carolina state parks this year.
Oh, wow. Good for you. Good for you. Good. How about in Spartanburg? Who's got a professional highlight?
We have another one.
Thank you.
Okay, mine would be getting a 30 under 30 for all of Caldwell Banker.
All right, congratulations. Yeah, so it's important. Thank you, Spartanburg, for sharing. It's important to kind of start with a good. Remember in our mind, remember when we're stressed, we kind of go back and say, well, this is what I should have done differently, or this is what I didn't do. Remember, we regret what we didn't do. So I would love for you to get in the habit of evaluation each year, each month, maybe even each day. What went well, what didn't go well, what did I learn? Okay, second question for you. Where'd you grow? How'd you really get better last year, personally and professionally? You getting ready to call them the peanut gallery right here?
You don't want to hear it, what's up? It might have to do with menopause.
You're right, I probably don't want to hear that.
Our waistline grew.
That is a positive attitude right there. We got bigger in 2022 too. That's a positive mindset. So this is paying off, I can tell. Okay, who wants to share here in Greenville? Where's a place that you really grew last year, really developed?
how I talk to people.
Okay, so break that. What do you mean how you talk to people?
So my daughter was in the car with me one day and she says, Mom, you're not nice to the people at the drive-thru. And I realized that I was so busy that I wasn't being nice, I was hateful. And so I made an effort that every time I go through I've started with that. Every time I go through the drive-thru, I make sure I talk to them like the folks at Chick-fil-A talk to me.
Yeah.
And so I just created a habit, and I, realized that I was doing that. I was so busy and I was so in my thoughts that I was not, it wasn't that I was being mean, but I just wasn't being completely nice altogether. So I just,
A good example of how stress and busyness makes me focus on me.
Mhm.
And I'm not able to see the impact on others. We're gonna talk about goal setting in a little bit later on, and you're gonna hear about breaking it down to like just one thing I can do. That's a very good example of changing a habit and a mindset, just something simple. Every time I go through the drive-through, I'm gonna be pleasant.
I made myself a sticky note to start with.
Yeah, you gotta have those reminders. That is awesome. How about professionally? How about an example of where somebody really grew professionally?
I gave up the staging business I had started because it was stressing me out, and the climax of that was shingles on the back of my head. And giving that up was hard for me because I loved it, and it's what my background was when we lived in High Point, but it really freed me up to be there for my clients and for my family, most importantly, and relieved a lot of stress. So, and I've had my best year that I've had. And some of that was before I gave it up. I gave it up in May, but and my friends I was in business with weren't surprised, and they loved me anyway, and so.
Yeah, what a great example. Warren Buffett said one key to success is saying no to almost everything. And this book, I can't remember who wrote it, called The Dip, and it's a really short book about kind of how do you overcome. Most people quit in that dip, and one thing is quit doing good things. And my football coaches didn't like that at Clemson, so they made me change it to kind of quit doing things that seem good that aren't necessarily good. They didn't like me saying quit doing good things. But sometimes good things keep you from being great. That's a great example. Okay, next question. Hey, what were some challenges that you overcame in 2022? When we talked about grit last year, I asked you to think about what's the most difficult thing you've ever overcome in your life, and how that make you who you are. But if you just look back specifically in 2022, what was a great challenge that you overcame? What did you learn? How'd you persevere? Take a moment and think about that. Spartanburg, I'm getting ready to come back to you, so if somebody is willing to be vulnerable enough to say what was a challenge you overcame, I would appreciate that. I can make y'all feel really uncomfortable in Greenville, and I know some of you, so I can call you out. I can't do that in Spartanburg. I can't see him. We got somebody raising their hand. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm not an agent, but I'm going to speak for each and every one of you, the challenges that you overcame last year and the year before that, having been involved in the Coal Bank of Caine for a very long time, is that you balanced all the people and all the stress every single day. I don't know really how you all did it.
Yep.
But I'm here to teach you.
Well, what a great perspective, that as the agents, you balance all the demands that were placed upon you by your customers, by your clients, by the market, by your family, those personal challenges. And I think that's important to remember who you are. I think it's also important to remember you're tougher than you think you are. We know the body will quit before the brain will quit before the body will. And so think back to those difficult things you went through, and how did that strengthen you? How did that make you stronger? How did that make you better? I think that's always a healthy part of perspective, to look back and now we can be grateful for those difficult times because they make me who I am. Nate Wiggins, our cornerback this year, got toasted at Wake Forest. I mean, just, he couldn't cover anybody, and I didn't know he had this maturity, and he started playing really well. And I said, Nate, what was the difference? He said, that Wake Forest game. Like, I needed that game to get me dialed in and make me appreciate what's in front of me and make me start using things other than my talent. Like, and that was an embarrassing time on national TV. And for Nate as a young man to say, hey, I'm grateful for that opportunity because that made me better. That's the mindset that we're looking to develop. Okay, if you had to go back and so each year of your life was a chapter of the book, this is a fun one. What would you title 2022? What would be the chapter title of your book, the year in the life of 2022? How would you label that? We need some creativity here. What would that title of your life be?
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Breakthrough.
The good, the bad, the ugly?
Yeah, where did 2022 go?
Where'd it go? Yeah. Question mark? I lost the year. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, woohoo.
Woohoo, like celebration?
Yeah.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
You had a great year?
I had a good year. I came here.
You came
this
here?
year. Yeah.
Good. And I think that is important as well. Sometimes we don't celebrate the success. Like, we don't celebrate the joy. We don't think about that. So we got a woohoo, we got the good, the bad, the ugly.
Breakthrough.
What's that?
Breakthrough.
Breakthrough. In what way?
From life being kind of crappy around COVID to just thriving,
I love that.
persevering through.
I love that. Spartanburg, we had a book title for me, a chapter title?
Got one.
Phoenix.
Phoenix? You got. I mean, I think I understand that, but you got to explain that a little bit for me.
Phoenix dies and then it comes back to life. And I'm working through I'm grateful that I've come to Caine, but I'm also working through some things and deciding that 23 I'm going to be free and I'm going to show up, blow up.
Oh, man, I appreciate you sharing that. I love that kind of sense of renewal and rebirth and rising from the ashes, whatever has hit you in life. And I hear the anticipation and excitement. I love this idea of being free in 23, building on that mindset. Okay, so I appreciate that look back. Now as we start looking ahead, what are you excited about? It's Stephen's saying that the market, there's some things that have downturned, this hangover from the holidays, this hangover from the fourth quarter, kind of maybe a sense of anticipation and dread and fear and anxiety about 2023. But let's start with what excites you about 2023? What are you excited about?
Starting over a new year.
Starting over a new year. Yeah, it's good to be here. There's opportunity. What else might excite you about 2023?
I always work better under pressure.
You were better, okay. It's gonna be a great year. Yeah. So, I love that mindset. Right? Remember the rules and beliefs we have about ourselves. One of the ways we try to talk about at Clemson football is the tougher it gets, the better we play. So we really try to embrace the challenge, accept the challenge. Somebody else, what's something you're looking forward to in 2023?
I'll go. I haven't formally been introduced yet, but I'm actually starting a new job opportunity here with Caldwell Baker Caine, and I'm very, very excited about it and get to talk to you guys in just a little bit.
Awesome. Well, don't hold back. What's your name? You got to good opportunity right now.
I'm Joy Coleman. Some of you guys have closed with me at Nelson and Galbraith, but I'm the new Title C manager, and my goal is to make that a much better relationship. And so you guys know that I'm here for you. I have a whole sales pitch, but I don't want to steal your thunder, but I'm very excited to be here. It's actually my 40th birthday today. Super excited about this year and what it brings. And I look forward to getting to know all of you and being available for you.
Awesome, Joy, thank you. I'll say welcome. I'm not a member of Caine, but welcome. And I appreciate the orange. I love the orange this morning.
I know. I love the orange. I love the orange
That's a good look. I appreciate that. Yeah, so now you think, okay, now we're getting serious. What scares you the most about 2023? What's the most dominant emotion you're experiencing right now?
Fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown?
Losing momentum.
Losing momentum?
Opportunity.
Opportunity scares you the most?
No, not scares me most. I'm sorry. I'm saying what I'm looking forward to.
Oh, you're still looking for an opportunity?
I'm looking forward to an opportunity.
You did not make fun of my math. Yeah. Brad's on about a 10-second delay. So fear, losing momentum. What else worries you the most about 2023?
I'm not worried.
You're not worried?
I'm just, I'm gonna put it, it's for professionally, and we'll put in the work and, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that it's gonna be, I don't know, I don't live in fear, so.
And so the opposite of fear is freedom. And what I hear you saying is, I'm gonna focus on what I can control, I'm gonna be the best that I can be, I'm gonna put the work in, and that's a great way to reduce that anxiety. But if we think our primary emotion is fear, and then think about, fear is just the most extreme form of stress, what are some ways you've learned to cope with stress, healthy or unhealthy? How do you normally, maybe that's a better way how I got up there. How do you normally deal with stress?
Exercise.
Exercise? Okay. Maybe I won't make it so personal. What are some common ways people in general tend to deal with stress? Alcohol.
Drugs, sex, rock and roll.
Massages, that's a healthy way.
I'm having that morning quiet.
Morning quiet time.
That was awesome.
What else?
Preparation.
Preparation? Yeah, I love, Peyton Manning said preparation reduces anxiety. But what's the problem with preparation, right? When I'm scared of something, when I'm nervous about something, what have I taught you, or maybe what have we learned, not what have I taught you, what have we learned about how the brain responds to stress and anxiety? What do we do? Fight or flight, right? So either we're gonna step in, my tendency is I'm gonna get really busy doing something that doesn't really matter, like that doesn't really help. If I'm really anxious, like I'll go try to clean my garage, you can probably tell I haven't been anxious because my garage isn't clean in a while. But I get busy doing something that doesn't help the situation. But it brings me some sense of comfort because I'm busy doing something, because this is so much an unknown. This is so overwhelming, this is so intimidating, I'm not quite sure how to get started, I'm not quite sure what to do. So I tend to my fight is to go get really busy doing something that doesn't matter, or to avoid even thinking about it. Just to avoid it. Because again, I'm not quite sure what it's gonna look like. And remember, when our brain asks questions, we automatically interpret those questions in a negative way, as if it's going to happen. And so when you're from a position of weakness and stress, when you find yourself asking these questions, and what's 2023 gonna look like? Am I gonna be okay? All right, am I gonna make the same amount of money? Am I gonna be busy enough? How am I going to survive? Your brain is constantly answering that as if you are not going to be okay, as if you are not going to be successful. And so those are valid questions. Now, I can promise you, positive thoughts don't guarantee positive results. So part of that is understanding your own tendencies and reactions to stress. And then coming up with a better game plan of how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to take care of myself? How am I going to control the things I can control? How am I going to stay connected? Again, stress makes me selfish. Stress also creates separation. It creates separation from the people that help me. It creates separation from my plan to win. It creates separation from my process. And so we want to understand you individually. This is my natural response to stress. This is my tendency. And let's come up with a game plan today of how you're going to deal with that stress and uncertainty, and how are you going to stay connected. So now, as we're shifting gears and we're thinking about this opportunity that's in front of us, right? We got a chance to get better. We got a chance to improve. We got a chance to grow. The tougher it gets, the better we play. And I really believe being a part of this Caine family is what helps you create separation. Because again, adversity can tie you together or tear you apart. And we stay connected. You think about what are you pursuing in 2023, personally and professionally? Like big picture, What's really important to you? How do you want to grow? I don't know if this is a good goal or not, but I just came back from Arkansas duck hunting. In 2023, I'm gonna duck hunt more. I don't know if that's a good, I don't think Caroline, my wife, is a big fan of that. I don't know what Clemson football is gonna think about it, but I realize that's something that really renews me and restores me and something that I'm passionate about. And so, like, I'm gonna pursue, kind of make a little bit more margin, do things I love to do with people I love to do them with. That's just an easy, simple goal that I'm gonna try to execute. Got to get my wife on board with that, but we'll see how it goes, and my business partner. So we scheduled Caine Live. Y'all can help me out with that. So that's an area. It's not big. It's nothing really important, but it's just a simple goal because it means more than just duck hunting. How about you guys? What's an area that you really want to grow in 2023?
So I joined Caine last year, new to real estate, totally new career for me. And so I got in it when the market was still hot, but I was also still learning and going through the Caine classes. And so I'm really excited about 2023 because I want to grow my business. I want to start making sales, start having listings and both clients who are sellers and buyers that I didn't have in 2022. So I'm really excited about 2023.
Yeah, that's an interesting
Making it
mindset.
happen.
I do a little radio show on Tuesday morning, and they asked me this morning about Colin Maracara in golf on Sunday. He had a 6-shot lead with 6 holes to go. He lost. Like, he had made a bogey in 3 days. He went bogey, double, I think, and then John Rahm shot 10 under. And he asked me what I thought about that, and I said, there's such a subtle difference between playing to win and playing not to lose. And I think about a new agent coming in, maybe I call it the tail end, like everything's in front of you. Like you don't have any burden of expectations of here's what it used to be like, and here's what 2022 was, and here's what 2021 was. Like, I had all this success, and so we try to hold on to what we have. You're so excited about what's to come because you aren't burdened by what was. And some of us in life, we remember the good old days. And we hold on to what we have, and we're scared to go pursue something new. So I really appreciate you speaking up because you aren't burdened by those expectations. You aren't burdened by the past. You aren't holding on, trying to hold on to what you have. You're excited about what's to come. And with that, you see things in a different perspective. You get really excited about opportunities. And I hope all of us can adopt that in some form or fashion for our life and for our business in 2023. That through it all, whatever happens, you got a chance to get better. You got a chance to improve. Maybe it's expanding new opportunities and looking at new things. Maybe it's narrowing your focus, increasing your depth, knowing what to say no to. I don't know what that looks like for you in your life. So kind of last thing, kind of as we kind of shift gears here in just a second, if you're like, you're the rough draft, right? There's the pen's in your hand. You get to write the story of 2023. How do you want it to be? We get together, if we come back, if I'm here in 2024 and I'm asking some of these same questions, what do you want 2023 to be? What would that title be for this chapter in your life?
We got one out here in Spartanburg.
Spartanburg, let's go. We're getting going.
Hey, so for me, this is a year of change because all my kids are graduating high school this year. My twins are. And so it's going to be a really weird year because it's like focusing on that and making sure that they get where they need to go. And then all of a sudden they're all going to be gone. And so this is like a pivotal year in our marriage, with our children, how we relate to each other, and hopefully a pivotal year in how I can step up and devote more time to working because I won't have anybody else's schedule to have to consider.
Yeah, so there's also some freedom, right, with that. But I love this idea of change. And right, what was the quote I used last time from Voltaire? Like, we're playing a new game. And sometimes you can't control the hand that you're dealt, but once you have the cards in your hand, you can decide how you play the game. Like, that's what I hear, this moment of change. How about somebody in Greenville? What's a chapter, the title, the story you want to write in 2023?
I think mine would be just one thing a day. So if I feel sometimes overwhelmed by working with general brokerage and then, I'm starting a new development project. And so, like you were saying earlier, sometimes you don't know where to start. So if I could just sometimes not think about the big picture and just do one thing to get me closer to those goals.
I love that. One thing a day. And success does what? It comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. Right? And so when the whole goal seems so overwhelming, if I could just write down this one thing a day and just do one thing, that's a great way to gather momentum. And that's a little bit of how we pivot and shift. You gotta be real careful. I flipped those words last time. I was talking to somebody and it didn't come out right. Those two letters. You gotta be real careful of what you focus on in that process. Okay, so I forgot I had that in here. So really quickly, how much time do I have left? We're about out of time?
Long as you want.
Plenty to do. 15 minutes.
Okay, good. Good. So let's go back and think about goal setting. When you hear that word, what comes to mind? Thomas, what are you thinking?
Worksheets.
Stuff you love, right?
I'm gonna get busy in my garage real quick.
Yeah, go. Yeah. You gotta clean something up?
Just being purposeful.
Good.
And that's something that's what I want to do for 23 is be way more, my 22 was not great, frankly, and my 23, I just want to be way more purposeful in how I spend time, how I communicate my actions, so I can have a great 23 and really and set a foundation for 24 and 25.
Yeah, so maybe the title is purposeful, or purpose. Right, and so one, what Thomas was kind of indicating, when I hear the word goal setting, I think of pressure. And he kind of indicated is, hey, this is something I should be doing. This is something I need to do that I haven't done. And then he flipped the mindset, if you heard, it's like, this is something I need to do. And he changed from like, this is what I want to do. So somebody else, when you hear the word goal setting, what comes to mind?
Dreaming big.
Dreaming big? Yeah, I like that. You never have a dream, you never have a dream come true.
Moving forward.
Moving forward.
Opportunity.
Opportunity.
Making a plan.
Making a plan. How many of you don't have to raise your hands because we talked about goal setting a little bit last year. We talked about business plans. I don't know how many of you did a business plan. How many of you set goals for 2022 last January? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10. Spartanburg's 100%, I'm sure. Good job, Spartanburg. So how did you do in achieving your goals last year?
Didn't.
You did not? Do you mind saying why you think you didn't?
I think I just was pie in the sky a little bit, just not understanding, my second year in real estate, you're not necessarily gonna achieve quite as much as I put on there.
Okay. So maybe not as realistic or achievable?
Not as achievable.
Okay. Other thoughts, so the research is fascinating, and there's a classic study that has really not been validated. It says really only 3% of people have goals that are written down and reviewed on a daily basis. It hasn't really been validated, but kind of my informal research as I speak to groups across the country, I get about kind of 5 to 7% of people in the audience will kind of raise their hand. So yeah, I set a goal last year. Then I was like, well, did you write it down? And then like 2 people dropped their hand. And well, if you wrote it down, did you share it with anybody? Did you review it on a daily basis? Did you review it on a weekly basis? Did you evaluate? And there's like 1 person in the room that said, yeah, I did all that. And so we all know and believe, and the research is overwhelming, if you write a goal down, if you invite people into your life to hold you accountable, you're going to do a better job of achieving your goals. But we all fail to do it. And so when I hear goal setting, I think, man, it sounds good. Sounds good, and it's something I should do, but we avoid doing it. And so I really want to try to challenge you as we kind of think about goal setting. What's 1 or 2 things we can set a goal for 2023? And let's take the pressure off of 2023. What's a goal we can set for the first quarter? Maybe what's a goal we can set for the month? So let's talk about a couple of ideas of goal setting. So here's what we do. We don't write it down. Right? There's power when you write it down. Your brain will do what? It will seek to develop the most dominant picture that you paint with which you attach the most emotion. I love this idea of that little chunk, right? Because every time I accomplish something, what do I want to reinforce in my brain? It's like me to do what I set out to do. You know, what's the Navy admiral who wrote the book, Make Your Bed? Right, the first thing he would do in the morning is make his bed, because the reminder is, it's like me to finish what I start. It's like me to do little things. It's like me to accomplish. You want to create that image in your mind, and your brain will seek to develop that picture. Then we don't know how to do it. Or maybe we dream big and it inspires us and there's an opportunity, but we don't have a process. Like we're just going to talk about, hey, I want to win this, or I want to achieve this, I want to make this much money, but then we don't really break down the process of how I'm going to get there. Then we don't ever review them. Remember, if we don't have a goal, what are we trying to live up to those expectations? And remember, the words that define our expectations are what I need to do, have to do, should do, or can't do. The goals that I'm pursuing inspire me, and it's I can, I am, I will. Then last time, we don't evaluate. You know, and so this market's a great example. If you come off 2022 and had a great year, and hey, I'm gonna grow 20% next year, and that's your goal, and we get off in the first quarter and the market doesn't support 20% growth, we don't ever evaluate, we don't ever adjust, we don't ever think about, well, what's working right now? And so we go, I see that a lot of time in corporate America. They give a goal in January, and for reasons no one can control, it becomes pretty evident they're gonna hit their goal in March, and they don't ever pivot, they don't ever adjust. And so the year is spent being defeated and discouraged. So we've got a lot of different perspectives. I'm gonna kind of fast forward to a couple, to really this one. So this is Alex Thompson. Has anybody ever heard of the Vendée Globe? Yeah, one guy nodded his head. It's a solo around the world sailing race. It's one of the most difficult things to finish, much less win. And so Sir Alex Thompson, I think it's Thompson, or I like to put a P in there because of my in-laws. Sir Alex Thompson was interviewed about what it's like to try to accomplish this. And his goal was really to set out and win the Vendée Globe. But when they were chronicling his journey last time he raced, he had some severe adversity. And I want you to hear and listen to what he said as he had to change his goals and change his mindset.
Hold on. Milt surprised me with a video, so.
Like to get you on your toes, James.
Share sound. Here we go.
Good job, James.
Right.
Go Spartanburg.
Yeah, we're back. Ready?
When you're out there on the ocean, when stuff goes wrong, it's very hard to see the end, the light at the end of the tunnel with some of the things that go wrong. So, for instance, when I broke my hydrofoil, I went from thinking I could win the Vendée Globe to maybe not even finishing the Vendée Globe. What my sports psychologist has taught me to do is to be able to break these huge tasks down into smaller tasks. So I went from trying to win the Vendée Globe to then being a podium on the Vendée Globe to then just even finishing the race. But even that felt too big. So he taught me to carry on reducing my goals all the way down until I got to the point where the lowest goal was to eat a packet of nasty freeze-dried food and then make a sail change. Now, once I completed the task I'd set myself, I felt better. And you feel better as human beings when we set ourselves a goal and we achieve that goal. Again, chemical reactions in the brain make us feel better. And if we feel better, if we're happier, we perform better. My ultimate goal is to win the Vendée Globe in 2020.
So what'd you hear there? The power of 1%, right? If I could just do one thing, if I could just be nice in the drive-thru, like if I could make my bed, if I could just do one thing, like the big picture of winning the Vendée Globe was so intimidating when his main sail broke, that just finishing the Vendée Globe was so intimidating. So you think about 2023 and the challenges, where do you get started? I don't know what the year's gonna look like. I don't know what this first half is, but it can be very intimidating. So I want to really challenge you. Well, what's one thing you can do right now? It's one thing you can do each day to get that dopamine hit, to remind yourself it's like me to finish what I started. It's like me to accomplish what I set out to accomplish, and get you working from a position of strength instead of a position of weakness. So when we think about our goal setting process, you know, and back to this real quick, specific, measurable, aggressive, yet achievable, relevant, and time-oriented. So very specific goal. Like, how are we gonna measure it? Outcome and process. Aggressive, like we want something to inspire us, but it's something that I can achieve. Relevant to my life, relevant to my business, relevant to what I'm trying to accomplish. And the time frame is, we can do it by the month, we can do it by the quarter, we can do it, maybe a good goal for us to really try and experiment is next time I'm back at Caine Live. So that'll be in March, right? January, yes. That'll be in March. Jane Harrison, our manager, go, why are we letting Stephen and Milt figure this out? I'll think of a smart goal. I'll think of the wrong person. I'm like, this is not, so as you think, as you think about kind of this process, you know, what I want you to really think about, what's something you can do personally and what's something you can do professionally? You know, what's an outcome goal and what's a process goal that you can set, a personal wellness wheel goal, and then what's one goal you can set professionally? So I want you to really think about that. I want you to walk away from today with this mindset. I'm gonna set one goal personally, I'm gonna set one goal professionally by March 14th, right, Jane Harrison? Like, we're gonna have some accountability with that process. I'm gonna check back in with you, maybe video in February, just a friendly, encouraging reminder. But I really want you to put yourself and just challenge yourself. What's one thing I can do to get better personally? What's one thing I can do to get better professionally? And so as we kind of wrap up, I'm curious, has anybody got something that just jumps out right now that you would like to share in Spartanburg or Greenville about one thing you're going to do personally and one thing you're going to do professionally?
Personally, I want to get back in shape.
Okay, so that's an outcome goal. I'm gonna get back in shape. What's one thing you're gonna do, a process to accomplish that?
Start exercising more.
Okay, so let's define more specific. This is why y'all don't speak up. You're like, this is like, I'm not gonna speak up. You're being vulnerable and I'm driving you home. But I appreciate you being my guinea pig, right? So I wanna get healthier. I'm gonna start exercising more if we quantified more. Like, we quantified how much, I wanna ask, but if I'm not exercising any right now, maybe I wanna exercise 2 days a week for 30 minutes. Like I know, like, I kind of dream big and I'm gonna go 0 to 50. And so maybe break that down into a manageable chunk. Like, by March 14th, I'm gonna create a habit of working out twice a week or 3 times a week. And then each week review that. That's a really good personal goal. Mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, relational. But if quiet time is what helps me be my best, I'm gonna have some quiet time each morning. Very simple, the little things. Okay, what's a professional goal? What's something somebody's thinking about right now in Spartanburg or Greenville? What's one goal that you can do?
Spartanburg. Spartanburg, this is Holly. I say I'm going to come to the sales meetings more often.
Okay, so more often.
And personally would be to get started on my meal prepping so that I don't have to wonder what I'm going to eat, when I'm going to eat, or whatever. And that just helps me in setting a personal goal.
Okay, so those are really good goals personally and professionally. I just would challenge you to get more specific. So instead of getting started on my meal prep, I'm gonna meal prep when? Like, when each day, you have to answer that, but that's how I want you to start thinking. And then I'm gonna come to more sales meetings or sales meetings more often. Like, I don't know how often the sales meetings are, every week. So that may be, I don't know how much you're coming now, but I'm gonna go to, how much, so we got 8 sales meetings? 3 a month. 3 a month. Okay, I'm gonna go to 50% of the sales meetings. Just make it specific. And then you just told everybody, Holly, so there's accountability, and I appreciate that in that process. But that's what it takes. Remember, you cannot become the best version of yourself without help from somebody else and without helping somebody else. So I appreciate your investment and thoughts today, and kind of just your time for reflection. And I hope if you didn't speak up that you were challenged a little bit to think deeply. And I hope from a position of strength, we can start working towards a worthy goal in 2023. So thank you.
Fantastic, y'all. We are so grateful to have you, Milt. I'm going to turn it over for one last round of questions, but I want you to comment on something. So if y'all don't know, Milt has a company called Amplos. They've got a brand new facility in Clemson. How many employees do y'all have now, Mark?
Not many, only 6.
6 employees. You have a partner. Your partner has your role at
Georgia.
At the University of Georgia.
Yes.
And so is there any internal competition over what happened last night?
We have told him that you only have one national championship up until last night. And so now he's got 2 back to back, but we still have the advantage because we have 1 for soccer.
There you go.
So we got 3 national championships.
3-2.
He's got 2. So he is, it's an interesting time for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congratulations to Drew and to you and to Amplos. Tell us about the new facility you built.
I appreciate that. One good lesson about dreaming big and going for something. Drew started at Georgia in his master's and became the first sports psychologist as a master's student. And his dream was to be the sports psychologist in Georgia. And they offered him the full-time job in 2011. And he turned it down. And I feel honored because he stayed with me in that process. And so as he started getting back involved with Georgia and Georgia football a few years ago, he was doing a lot of the clinical work. And they barely beat Cincinnati 2 years ago. And he told me, he's like, I got some ideas. I think I can help Georgia football. Why don't I just call Kirby Smart and set up a time? And we were like, go for it. So January 11th, 2021, he drove to Athens, Kirby and him met for 3 hours and built out a game plan of how to drive connection and chemistry and strengthen the Georgia football relationship.
Wow.
And so having a dream, having a vision, having the courage just to go for it, to ask why not and see what happens. And it's been really rewarding to kind of see that process.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah. So, we can talk about Milt Pine another day.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions or comments from Milt?
Your wife will be okay if you just take her with you.
Yeah, there you go.
She's my wife when she says that's her version of hell.
Arkansas. Arkansas.
That is not a place.
Yes.
I don't think she's going to thrive.
I can confirm that.
There's not a whole lot happening in Stuttgart, Arkansas.
She's not going to Duck Gumbo.
Yeah.
Well, my sister goes with her husband, and he's like, doggone, I shouldn't have ever introduced her because now she shoots more ducks than him. Yeah.
Image of her.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here, Milt. 2023 is going to be a great year, and it was a perfect way to kick it off. So we're grateful for you and the partnership. Congratulations to Amplos and to Drew, and we expect more from
We got to get our
the
games on.
Tigers.
Yeah, thank y'all. Sorry. for being a little
Thanks,
late.
Milt. Jane Harrison.
All right. Good morning. Happy 2023. I'm excited to share a couple of updates from the marketing team. So one fabulous new thing we have in all of our galleries and our headquarter office here and in Spartanburg are these lovely personalized coloring books. So when you have younger friends joining you in the office, we encourage you to entertain them so you can get your job done. So this is a probably, I'd say 40-page coloring book that is an overview of the upstate. So it does include some things in Spartanburg as well as Greenville and the surrounding areas. So please feel free to ask an experience manager for one when you're in the office to share with your young friends. Also, if you grow to love them and you want to purchase some, they are $8.50 a piece. And the accounting team will happily agent bill you. So just let the experience manager know and we can get you a bulk quantity or a small little stack, whatever works for you. So please enjoy and give us some feedback because they were custom made through a friend of Stephen's. So we're grateful to have them in our spaces. Next is tomorrow morning, bright and early. We've heard y'all's feedback. When we can work with a gym to get us in early in the morning, we try. So tomorrow is 8:20 at 556 Perry Avenue, which is over in the West Village. We did the junkyard workout about 6 months ago, and it was awesome. Alexis is our biggest fan there, and she said they're ready to kick our fannies into shape. So please join us. We have to have a great turnout. It is a new year, lots of goals, so please come. Whether you've ever worked out in your life or not, we encourage you to come because they definitely, you can use weights, you can use body weight. There's a lot of different variety, right, Alexis? They haven't changed it? Okay. I'm sorry? No, not at the 8:20. They made other times, but not tomorrow. No childcare. The question was, do they have childcare? No childcare for us tomorrow. And then also next week, as y'all know, Monday is Martin Luther King Day. So we have partnered in the Spartanburg market with the local group to do hygiene kits for all of those in the community in need. So please bring your supplies to the Spartanburg office, including soap, shampoo, toothpaste, toothbrushes, and deodorant by this Friday so that we can distribute those on Monday. And then here in Greenville, we are doing sports donations. So anything, whether it's a baseball, a football, anything you can think of that children would love. There will be about 200 children coming out on Monday to our day of service, and we would love to have y'all there. Scan the QR code. There are 3 different volunteer times for the Greenville opportunity. Essentially, it's an hour and a half of your time to really engage with the community. It's over in Nicholtown this year, and so we would really love, it's super close to here. Anybody just pop over. Again, there are other brands, so Spinks and FGP are also sponsors of this, so it's a great networking for us to be in the community, but also with some peers. I think Stacy has a question.
Ask, do they have to be brand new items?
They do not have to be brand new. We can certainly use gently used. As we know, children love anything we give them in their hands to play with. So please bring the more the merrier, because we do expect about 200 children. And last year, the sporting goods were the first things to go. So we would love anything you have in your garage as you're cleaning out, bring it on in. I saw another question somewhere. Yes.
Teenagers, did they come and volunteer?
Yes, absolutely. So as long as you are able to watch your children, I brought my 8-year-old last year and she was able to kind of mingle and help give out the sporting goods and the school supplies and things like that. So children are also welcome. Great question. Then next Thursday in Spartanburg, we have Nancy Corbin, who is a local Spartanburg native and a wonderful artist, very well known. There should be a fabulous turnout. So please join us from 6 to 8 in the Spartanburg office. She's got incredible artwork. We can't wait to host her. And then lastly, the Caine Cares survey. Many of you who've been here recall in the past, we asked you, what did you do over the last year or multiple years in terms of community service? So we want to update all of that information as we celebrate our 90th anniversary. We want to make sure y'all's voice is also heard. So Caine gives at the Caine level, but also what are you doing as an individual, whether it's time, monetary, or just passion projects. It also helps us understand as we pave our path forward with Caine Cares, where our resources are going and how to incorporate new things. So that will come out shortly. Please, please, please fill it out, because if you're missing, it's obviously lower numbers for all of us. So that will come from me shortly, and I'll give this to Amanda.
Good morning. So our broker tip this week, that was in the This Week on Sunday, had 2 ideas for you to be able to reach out to your past clients from 2022 with a very impactful and value add outreach. So as you're thinking about your small goals, maybe your goal for January is to reach out to every client you closed in the year of 2022. 2 ways that you can do that. We have in that email, we had a letter that is in Word that you can customize to your clients, and then you would include a copy of their CD because they're going to need that for their closing. So great little touch point that just makes their life a lot easier. So if you go back to Sunday's email, it came out Sunday evening, there is an attachment in the broker tip that you can customize to be from you, not from me. The other one is called an ATI, or an accessible transfer of interest. And what this is a little hidden gem. So anyone you closed in 2022 that bought an investment property or a secondary home, this could apply to them. So what it is, if the property was at 6%, and then remains at 6%, they may be eligible for a 25% reduction in their taxes the first year. There's a lot of caveats with it, and it is truly a hidden gem. So the caveats is that it has to be there's an application for your client to submit to the county. It has to be done before January 31st. And this applies for all counties. All counties should have an application for this on their website. However, going back to the hidden gem, it is hard to find. So that link has Greenville, Spartanburg, and Anderson's link. Other counties should have something. If you can't find it, you want to call the assessor's office. Again, there's a lot of little caveats with it, but it's a great touch point for your clients to really show some value and something that they will certainly remember. Pickens is not in the email, but Pickens should have one. You just need to go to Pickens County. The easiest way that I could find it, the assessable transfer of interest, also called ATI, is a good thing to Google for the county, and that might help you find it. But like with Anderson, I had to call the county to really find it. It does apply for commercial properties as well, for our commercial folks. And another little touch point, courtesy of Jane McCutcheon, another thing you can do is go through the county tax site for everyone you've closed and make sure that the people that should be at 4% have turned in their application and are at 4% and not 6%. If they're at 6%, you have a great touch point to reach out to them. So look for those little opportunities where you can shine. So that brings you future business. We officially want to welcome Joy Coleman with Title C, who stepped up earlier. Welcome, Joy. Joy has been with Nelson Galbraith as an attorney. She is a licensed attorney, but she will also be working in the role as a liaison for us with Title C. One of the benefits of Title C is you know who to go to and help get answers, resolve issues, get help when you need it. So please introduce yourself to Joy after Caine Live. And then AMP, another goal you could set for yourself is to complete AMP. So based on Caine specific data, when we've tracked previous classes, what we typically see post AMP is a 77% in growth in business of agents after completing AMP. We do have a class coming up in both Spartanburg and Greenville on January 23rd. So if that's something you want to consider, talk to a broker to get more information. And then in the This Week on Sunday, we had a little link for you to download from the App Store, the CBU app. The CBU app is the learning center within CB Desk. So it's specific to training and classes. Historically, it has just been the classes through Coldwell Banker, but we now have the ability to put our Coldwell Banker Caine classes in there as well, making it very easy for you to find classes and sign up for classes right within the app, instead of having to find an email and then go through Sign Up Genius. So if you haven't downloaded this app, please do so, and we'll have more details for you, but that's the first step. And then, hard to believe, but the annual meeting is quickly approaching. The doors open at 6, and it will be at the Greenville Convention Center. However, I promise you, it will not look like the Greenville Convention Center. It's going to be amazing. I got to sit in a meeting this past week and hear some of the highlights, which I wish I could share with you, but I can't. But I will say significant others are welcome. It is black tie. Black tie is optional, but encouraged. So if we need to rent those, we want to work on that process early on and encourage our spouses to do that, like I'll have to do. And I know the women always have questions on attire, so if you do, let us know, but it's more of a, would you say gala style? Gala style, but a little trendier and fun. So how about that? That's how we always describe our outfits. We always have like this twist. That's what we do. We twist. And then lastly, what is on your mind other than what you're going to wear to the event?